Hello everyone. My name is A.K. Monjurul Islam and I welcome you to join my live session Monjur's English Solution once again. Because of some technical issues, the previous live session that I conducted somehow actually got damaged. I don't know why, but for some technical reasons it was cancelled or it was deleted from my page. So I am conducting the live session on the Romantic period of English literature once again. Without further delay, I would like to begin the live session. Today, the topic of discussion is the Romantic period of English literature. Well, the Romantic era it begins with the publication of the lyrical ballads during the year 1798. I repeat, the Romantic period actually began with the publication of a poetry book titled Lyrical Ballads in the year 1798, and it continued till the year 1832. That means the Romantic period actually started in the year 1798 and ended in the year 1832. So from 1798 to 1832 is the span or period. It is actually the duration of the Romantic period. So the Romantic period started with the publication of lyrical ballads. I have already told you it is actually a poetry book, and after the publication of this book, this poetry book, it fell under a lot of criticism. The critics, the so-called contemporary critics, they started criticizing the book, the poetry book, because it actually did not follow the ancient Greek and Roman tradition. The English poets during that time, they used to follow the ancient Greek and Roman tradition, the Greek and Roman style, ancient Greek and Roman style of writing poems. But William Wordsworth and his poetry book, the lyrical ballads, it went beyond the traditional features or traditional writing techniques. It actually started a revolution in the field of English literature, and it actually fell under a lot of criticism. The critics did not take it so easy because it actually did not follow the literary features or traditions of the Roman and Greek literature, which was actually followed by the English poets during that particular time. And in this poetry book, we find the poems written by William Wordsworth and his friend Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Both they actually contributed to the production of this poetry book titled Lyrical Ballads. But as I have already told you, after the publication of the first edition, it fell under a lot of criticism as it actually started a revolution in the field of English poems. So when the second edition was published, what William Wordsworth did, he wrote actually a preface. He wrote a preface to the lyrical ballads, and it is known as the preface to the lyrical ballads. He wrote some introductory remarks explaining why he has chosen to write beyond the classical Greek and Roman tradition, because the language that he used while producing his poems or while writing his poems was very simple. Wordsworth used to believe that poetry should not actually be confined to a particular group of people or to a particular class. Poetry should be for the sake of all kind of people. It should reach the common mass. Let me explain. Suppose if I talk about ghazal songs, ghazal actually was mainly composed and sung for the elite class or elite uh, aristocratic class of people. They used to, listen to ghazals or appreciate ghazals. The common people actually, it was beyond their understanding or beyond their comprehension. But ghazal was later on popularized by Jagjit Singh and Pankaj Udas. So Jagjit Singh and Pankaj Udas, they actually contributed vastly to take ghazal uh, to common people. I mean, ghazal actually was beyond the comprehension of the common mass, but it was popularized by Jagjit Singh and Pankaj Udas. They actually took ghazal to a new dimension. They make ghazal popular to the common people, and common people started liking and appreciating ghazal songs. So Jagjit Singh's contribution to popularize ghazal knows no bounds. In the same way, William Wordsworth, he made poetry popular to the common mass. He made it comprehensible to the common people, because the language of the classical poems were very difficult. It was beyond the comprehension of the common mass. But Wordsworth used to believe that poetry should reach the common people, and the language of poems should be easily understandable, so that it can communicate with its readers. And that's why he has chosen easy language, everyday language, for the comprehension of the common people. And he took poems or poetry to common people, and common people started understanding or appreciating poems. It was the great contribution of William Wordsworth. And after the publication of lyrical ballads, it happened. It actually started a revolution in the field of English literature or English poems. Now I hope you understand what is actually the contribution of William Wordsworth. So Romantic period actually began with the publication of William Wordsworth's lyrical ballads. And in this book, we find the poems of two famous, prominent Romantic poets, William Wordsworth and his friend Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Now let us talk about the literary features of the Romantic era. What are actually the literary features? What actually were the literary features and literary devices that the poets followed during this era? Well, the first literary feature, I want to talk about the literary features one by one. The first literary feature is high imagination. Romantic poets, they chose the imaginary world over the world of reality. They actually wanted to stay in a world of imagination. They loved to stay in the world of high imagination rather than staying in the world of reality. Because in reality, we cannot do a lot of things what we can do in our imagination. We have got some physical or worldly limitations in our real life. But in imagination, we can do a lot of things. We can go beyond our limitations. Just like we can fly in our dream or in our imagination, which we cannot do in practical life, or in our real life, we cannot fly like a bird. But in our imagination, we can do that. So the Romantic poets, they gave priority to the world of imagination over the world of real life in their poems. High imagination was one of the literary features of the Romantic poets. Just like if I talk about a poem written by John Keats, Ode to a Nightingale. What you see in the poem, in this poem, John Keats has created an atmosphere where the happy world of imagination and the tragic world of reality and their contradiction was evident. That means the contradiction between the happy world of imagination and the tragic world of reality was the subject matter of the Romantic poets. Just like the poem written by John Keats titled Ode to a Nightingale. In this poem, what you see, the poem is getting infatuated by the song of the nightingale, the bird nightingale. He is becoming obsessed after hearing the song of the bird nightingale. He is getting united with the bird. But towards the end, what we see, he is saying that, forlorn the very word is like a bell to toll me back from thee to my soul self. That means the poet actually is bringing himself back to reality. He is getting united or obsessed with the bird and its song, but later on, towards the end of the poem, he is realizing that this infatuation is short-lived. I have to come back to my real life. I have to become lonely once again. At a time, he was enjoying the company of the bird, and he became united with the bird. He was infatuated or obsessed with the song of the bird. But towards the end of the poem, he is bringing himself back to reality, and he knows that he cannot be actually united with the bird for a long period of time, because in reality he will have to come back to his material life once again. And this is the tragic reality of the material world. So the happy world of imagination and the tragic world of reality, and the contradiction between them is the subject matter of the romantic poets, of most of the romantic poets, and it is one of the literary features of the romantic era. Now let us talk about the second literary feature of the romantic period, that is excessive interest in nature. Yes, the romantic poets actually showed excessive interest in nature. The pastoral setting of their poem, their nature religion, and the description of nature everywhere throughout the poem was evident in the poems of the romantic poets. Especially their poems had the pastoral atmosphere, pastoral setting. If I talk about William Wordsworth and his Prelude, his famous poem Prelude, which was written during the romantic period, what you see there, William Wordsworth actually was famous for his nature religion. He took nature as his religion. And he believes that nature gives us a happy frame of mind. People who are actually brought up close to nature, they are much more happier, much more tolerant than other people around. People living in the cities, they are heartless, they are not so tolerant, and they actually are not so happy like the people who are staying close to nature. Because nature gives us a happy frame of mind, and nature nourishes, polishes, or nurtures somebody's soul much better than anything or anybody else. So the training of nature is very rigorous, like the training of an army officer. And that's why in his Prelude, William Wordsworth said, "Fair seed time had my soul, and I grew up, fostered alike by beauty and by fear." That means when Wordsworth was a child, he was born and brought up in a rural atmosphere. So he was brought up close to nature, and his soul was nourished and nurtured by the nature. And it was his fair seed time. His soul was in its most blissful state when he was staying close to nature during his childhood. Later on, when he grew up, he started staying in the city life. So that is evident. The excessive interest in nature was evident in the poems written by the romantic poets. Now let us talk about the next literary features, that is nostalgia. The romantic poets were very much nostalgic. That means they used to stay in the past. Most often they were haunted by their past, and the reminiscence of the past and the memories of the past was evident in their poems. They recollected. Nostalgia actually means the recollection of the memories of the past. So the recollection of the memories of the past was there in the poems of the romantic poets. They actually recollected the memories of their past through their poems. Just like if I talk about William Wordsworth's another poem, that is Tintern Abbey, what do you see there? He and his sister, they getting bored with their city life, with their monotonous city life. They're getting back to their birthplace where they were brought up during their childhood. That is their village, native village. There they went back, and Wordsworth is feeling like he has lost the cheerfulness of youth. At a time when he was young, the stream, the river of the place where he was born was they actually used to talk to him. The river used to send him messages, divine messages, when he was a child. But nowadays, when he has grown up and come back to nature, it is not appealing to him as much as it used to do during his childhood. This shows that he has lost the cheerfulness of youth. So he is actually becoming nostalgic when he is getting back to his birthplace, and he is actually recollecting the memories of his past. So the reminiscence of the past, or nostalgia, is evident in the poems written by the romantic poets. Now let us talk about another feature of the romantic poets, that is supernaturalism. Supernaturalism. Yes, supernaturalism was evident in the poems written by the romantic poets. What is supernatural? Beyond natural phenomena. Like a dead person cannot walk. But if a dead body suddenly wakes up and start walking, that will be a supernatural phenomena or supernatural incident. So the supernatural elements were evident in the poems, especially written by William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Both they were very close friends. William Wordsworth used to make natural supernatural, and Samuel Taylor Coleridge used to do the opposite. He used to make supernatural natural. So in the poem written by Samuel Taylor Coleridge titled The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, where we find that the dead sailors of the ship suddenly wakes up, starts walking around the ship. So this shows the supernatural element, and there are some supernatural characters in the poem as well. Even the bird albatross also is a supernatural bird. So the Rime of the Ancient Mariner, written by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, is full of supernatural elements. Now let us talk about another quality of the Romantic poets of the Romantic era, another literary feature of the Romantic era, that is revolutionary zeal. Yes, the revolutionary zeal was evident in the poems written by the Romantic poets, because Romantic poetry itself created a revolution in the field of English poetry, because Romantic poets, they went beyond the traditional writing style. They went beyond the traditional Greek, Roman and literary classic literature. They didn't follow that tradition. They went beyond the tradition. They started to use their own unique features in their poems. So it started a revolution in the field of English poetry. And just before Romantic period, French Revolution took place. So that French Revolution also somehow influenced the Romantic poets, especially the poets Percy Bysshe Shelley and Lord Byron. They are considered to be revolutionary poets. Even often they are compared to Nazrul. In our childhood, in most of your childhood, you have read Nazrul is the Shelley of Bangladesh. Nazrul is the Byron of Bangladesh. Both Byron and Shelley, they are romantic poets and revolutionary poets, and they actually revolted against the traditional beliefs of or traditional cultures of the society, the traditional beliefs, customs of the society, and they were atheists as well. So, they were revolutionary poets who went beyond the tradition, and Romantic poetry itself created a revolution in the field of English literature, as I have already explained. So the revolutionary zeal is another literary feature of the Romantic period or Romantic era. So I have finished my discussion on the literary features. Now let us talk about the literary works of this period. I have already talked about some of the prominent poets. William Wordsworth, his lyrical ballads. Here we find the poems written by Wordsworth and his friend Samuel Taylor Coleridge. John Keats and his odes. Keats has written many odes, and he was a very famous Romantic poet, especially famous for his sensuousness. His poems actually gave sensuous pleasure to the readers, and he was also very famous for his high imagination, John Keats. And Percy Bysshe Shelley and Lord Byron, they were revolutionary poets. They started writing poems during this Romantic period, and they were Romantic poets and revolutionary poets. And William Blake was another poet of this era, of this Romantic period. He was a pantheist. William Blake was not only a poet, but also a very famous painter. He used to paint, he used to draw pictures, and he was a pantheist. And he took nature as his religion as well. So the nature religion, pantheism, these were evident in the poems written by William Blake. And another writer who was not a poet, his name was Charles Lamb. Charles Lamb used to write during the Romantic period. He was a very famous person. He was a very famous figure. famous author. He was not a poet, he was an author. He wrote a collection of prose during the Romantic period titled Essays of Elia. Essays of Elia is a very famous uh, book of collection of non-fictions or prose written by Charles Lamb. And in this book, Charles Lamb has written so many essays like Dream Children, A Bachelor's Complaint About Married People. The readers definitely will enjoy reading it. Those who actually have not read this book, Essays of Elia, they can start reading the book. It's a very famous prose writing book that is full of non-fictions, and Charles Lamb has talked about so many things of our life in this book, connecting those things with his personal lives. So it is actually what I wanted to discuss today. I wanted to introduce my students or my audience with the Romantic period of English literature. How did this period actually start, and how did this period flourish? How this period actually continued? What were the literary features, techniques, and devices used by the contemporary poets and authors? And I have already discussed some of the major literary works of this period as well. So thank you very much for joining my live session tonight. I will come back after a 1 month gap with another topic. I will conduct my live session after 1 month gap. I mean the next live session of mine will be conducted after 1 month, and I will notify my my listeners, my audience, and my students through my Facebook page, Manju's English Solutions. And I would like to inform you that I have also a YouTube channel with the same title, Manju's English Solutions. There I upload the recorded videos of my live sessions. Today's live sessions recorded video will also be uploaded on that YouTube channel as well. So all the live session recorded videos of my Facebook page, Manju's English Solutions, are already available on my YouTube channel, Manju's English Solutions. You can go there, visit my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Your response, your involvement, your connection to my page and to my channel will definitely keep my page live and exclusive, and it will continue. You are actually my inspiration. My audience, my students are my inspiration. If you inspire me by following my page, by liking and subscribing my YouTube channel, I will be encouraged to continue. So thank you very much for joining my live session tonight. I will come back after a 1 month gap with another new topic. Till then, it's goodbye from here and good night. Take care.